guys, so this is a comprehensive tutorial on how to mod the menus in Fight Night Champion. It's not very hard, very similar to the last video. I'm going to go through it from the beginning more or less. So what you're going to do, open your emulator, go to this game folder, user directory, data, PS3, and game export. Now the difference is you're going to go to this folder right here, and these are all the different venues that you have in the game. So each number corresponds to a different venue. So think Boardwalk Hall, New York Arena, and whatever comes after basically. So it's in that order. Not sure what venue common big is. That I have no clue. So what you're gonna do, take these, copy and paste them somewhere else, or if you want to, take them out in general, but make sure you have a copy of the vanilla just in case you want to keep the old original files. It's very important for everything you do with modding. You always want to have a clean, nice, just normal game. That way you can go back and anything ever screws up. So I've already done all that, so I'm just going to go ahead and open up the stuff I need. So as you can see, I have all these. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over here, right, and let's see. You're going to have the different venues. Those were my vanilla. These are the modded. Let's see. So these are the ones that work. These are the ones that I've changed, and I know they work. We're going to go and mess with them now. Let's see, what did I do here? Oh, okay. So the difference is, you look at the file size. These are, before I recompress them, because you're going to need to rezip them afterwards, most likely at least, we're going to pick one to change. So, let's see. What's one that I haven't changed? Maybe that would have to change. Let's go with, looking for one I haven't changed yet. Alright, I guess this will be a good one, just because I don't use it. So we're gonna go Germany. So, when you take your big files and you're gonna mod them, you always need to decompress them. So after it's decompressed, you're gonna use the big file extractor to open it up, and you get this folder right here. So you have all these different textures. We're gonna do the most basic of editing with this, and then I'm gonna try and do something that I haven't done before, and we'll go from there. So when you're doing the most basic stuff, you're looking for specifically, let's see, should be, this right here, matte canvas. It's better to copy both the weave and the canvas. You'll see why in a minute. As you can see, there are a bunch of different textures, like ring posts, there are ropes, there's everything. Every little thing on the map that has texture, you can change. I don't mess with a lot of it, just because I'm not sure what I'm messing with, and it's all trial and error, so we're taking our time. So now that we have these files copied, we're just going to go back over here. Actually, I'm just going to open up. You need DTF to DDS and DDS to DTF once again. I'm going to need GIMP in order to edit everything. And I'm also going to change something. So, yeah, these two files now. Looking at something I want to change. Let's say I usually. Alright. So we're gonna try and change some of the banners. Anything else I want to change? As you can see, you can change almost everything. I mean, there's not much you can't change. As you can see, the canvas is much bigger than the other canvases. That's because I've already edited this one. Alright, that should be good. Alright, so take all these. You don't need to decompress these for whatever reason. Not completely sure on it, but if you're messing with the fight kit, once again, you need to decompress it every time. Not sure why. So now that we have all this, let's start with the the Berlin gym. We're gonna go and start with messing with the ring. Same thing as before. As you can see, this is what the ring actually looks like. This is what you see when you're playing the game. Alright. So, coming up to this. Now this is the texture of the actual mat. So, I don't mess with the texture personally. But you can do whatever you want if you want to change the texture. I was told by a member of the Fight Night Forever team, Samaroon, that you can mix and match these two to absolutely any venue you want. So when you edit one, you can just copy and paste it over to whatever other venue you want. It's not very difficult. Now, I haven't tried it personally, but I would trust him on that because while him and me don't get along very well, he's part of the dev team for Fight Night Forever, and they're pretty good at what they do. So I'm not gonna mess with the texture, but I am gonna mess with the ring. So we're looking at it. What is it you might want to do to it? Well, that's a great question. Normally, nobody uses this map, so you think of, let's say, there are a million different things. Trying to think of a good example. I got a great example now. I just thought of it. I'm gonna probably implement it somewhere else as well, but if you guys know boxing, you know who Inoue is. He's a great fighter, obviously, and he usually fights in Japan. So he has a very different ring than you normally see because you don't normally see anything other than the MGM Grand, Showtime boxing. Well, it's not Showtime anymore, but you don't see anything other than PBC, or just any of that for that matter, right? It's always just the PBC and ESPN, right? So I'm gonna go to YouTube. Yeah. I'm not gonna completely redo the ring. I'm just gonna be doing the canvas itself. So we're gonna take, let's see, we're gonna go here. Luckily I have a color very similar. Now, there's not much that you really need to worry about doing. The easiest stuff would be probably the copy and paste, which isn't hard. You don't need these maps. You don't need them in any sense. I mean, there's no reason for them. I mean, it's the same thing when you're editing textures for the fight kit as well. So we're just gonna do a new layer group once again. This is basic Photoshop, by the way, which is not hard to learn. I hate when it is shit, but it's not hard to learn. That's all there really is to it. Basic Photoshop will teach you most of this stuff. So why is it being like this? Alright, well, I'll figure it out when time comes. Alright, so for when NOA fights in Japan, it's usually sponsored by Docomo and Lamino. So all we're gonna do is look up their logos on the internet, which is on my second monitor. You guys can't see that, but it's not really, it doesn't matter too much. You literally just look up whatever you want to look up, type in PNG, boom, done. That's it. So, file, okay, file. Okay. All right. So now we have these new files. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the Docomo PNG. Keep in mind, since it's simple stuff. It's not like I'm sitting here selling anything. It's don't worry about copyright for whatever reason you decided to worry about it. It doesn't matter. So we have the Docomo PNG, and then now we're gonna get the Lamino PNG. Let's see. This is a bit of a pain. Trying to find a good logo. Sometimes this can take time. It's basically just trying to find what you as a person are comfortable with putting on there. If you're a perfectionist, you obviously want it to be perfect. I'm not a complete perfectionist, but I want it to look as nice as possible because this is something I'm going to be playing on, obviously. So let's see. That's not the biggest deal in the world, I guess. And then now we have Lamino PNG. Simple. So now that we have these, we're going to see what they look like when I bring them over, because we need to know how big they need to be. Lamino, that could be bigger. We're going to make it bigger. So all I've been doing is I covered the mat. You can cover it however you want, doesn't really matter. I'm just painting over it with a different color. The texture will still be more or less the same. I didn't mess with it. I'm taking the copy and paste. As you guys saw before, I was messing with the layer groups. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, don't want to work. Uh, don't know why. But there's a work around that, so we're just using that right now. So I'm just copying and pasting into the Tacoma logo, and you're going to see what I'm going to do with the little PNG thing in the background in a second. But this should be pretty simple. Alright, I'm just going to go. I need the rotation tool again. And we're just going to move it up over here. Let's rotate it a little bit more. That should be good. Alright, so now we have all these, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to lock all of these, and we're just going to take them away so they're not visible, go back to the main surface, and we're going to fully paint over everything. Now it's just big gray slabs. You're like, oh my god, there's nothing there. Add everything back. We're gonna unlock everything except for the little Lamino logo right here. And we're gonna use this little tool right here. As you can see, not the best, not the worst. It would take a lot of time, but you get the approach I'm taking. Whoops. I'm not gonna get this perfect, mostly just to save time, and because I personally, it looks good enough for me. I'm not gonna sit here and complain. In order to not mess up as much as I am, the best way to do that is to zoom in and go pixel by pixel, which takes a lot longer than I would like to take. So that's why I'm not doing it. feel free to fast forward through literally all of this. I'm just gonna be trying to get this looking okay, like acceptable, I guess is a better way than this. As you can see, for whatever reason, it works better sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. I screwed this one up. I'm not gonna sit here and really kill myself over it. I don't use this map pretty much ever anyways, so it's just an example. Alright, we're basically done. So, now this is probably one of the most important parts about this. Make sure that, as you saw up here, 1024 by 1024, that's how all of them are. Make sure they stay 1024 by 1024. If they don't, it's not gonna look good. It's gonna be all messed up. So, when you go to export right here, everything looks good. We're gonna press export. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here. We're gonna check it. Now, we need to check it because, as you can see, I messed up. I wasn't paying attention. What we need to do is we need to merge everything. So, since there's no layer group, we need it all merged. So we're just gonna merge down. Now, if you had a layer group, it'd be simple. But there is no layer group. Why? I don't know why the layer group is so much. I'm gonna be honest, but it doesn't matter because this is what the end result looks like. So now we have this. We're gonna export as. Replace. Make sure it's 1024 by 1024. So just don't mess with anything. Export. Gonna open it back up. As you can see up here, 1024 by 1024. Make sure it stays that way. So we're done here. We don't need any of this anymore. And we're good to go. Now, all I did is exit out. We're going to keep this right here. This is the changed one. We can delete these two right here. We don't need these anymore. So now we have the Metro Manila Arena banners. We're going to open up all of them. And I'm going to mess with all of them. And we're going to see how it works out because I haven't tried yet. The original Alonzo, we're going to change that. We're going to change Everlast. We're going to change all of this. You can see all the different things. We're going to change all of it. So, let's see. EA Sports. debating keeping EA Sports in there. But, you know, other than that, let's see. We can change Reebok to winning and change one of the other Reeboks to Riyadh season. Try that. So, we're going to do winning in Riyadh season. What we need to do is we need to get pure white. I wouldn't say this is pure white, but it's close enough. Let's see how that works out. Wrong color. Okay, so that's going to be a pain in the ass. So, simple as you got to just be very, very careful. There's no other way to put it. Because I'm not going to redo an entire gradient like this. I don't care to do it. And I don't frankly want it. It takes forever. We're going to keep the separation, however, so we got to be careful with the size of the brush. Gonna start right here. Hold shift and get it right about there. Same thing here. So now this is the really annoying part, and this is why I say you gotta be careful. Basically just coloring in the lines, which a lot of people aren't very good at, including myself, and you're like, oh, it can't be that hard. It's a pain. When you start to get tired after doing this for over an hour, it gets rough. You can see mine isn't perfect. It's not gonna be perfect. I'm gonna try to keep it perfect, but it's how it is. We're just gonna do our best to make it as perfect as possible, and however it turns out, turns out. Once you get, to where it's a certain size, it's a lot harder to tell, because it's only like so many pixels that you can actually see if I zoom in. But it doesn't really matter because I'm still trying to make this look as nice as possible. I actually did, in my opinion, the best job on Metro Manila, and I would like it to look as good as possible since I feel like I did the best job on it. Spent a lot of time editing Metro Manila, but I think it turned out well, which you'll see once I get in game. I should probably note, this is very important, the modded gear, like your modded fight kit, usually works with no problems. There are a lot of different weird bugs when you mod gear. Anything that you retexture, so for instance, those trunks that I made in the previous video, when you have that, any generated fighter in legacy mode or any fighter that would normally wear those trunks in any aspect of the game will have those new modded trunks on. Usually that's not a problem. Occasionally, however, if you and the other fighters, so both fighters have modded gear on, sometimes the game crashes, sometimes you can't load into maps that are modded or unmodded. Sometimes you can play it and you'll knock them down and the game will crash. There are a bajillion different bugs. So, you want to do your best to avoid that by learning as much as possible through trial and error. That's the only way to really put it. So we're just going to finish this up. You can skip ahead through all of this. Anything I add on here, just stuff I kind of remember in the moment. It's not always important. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So, now to get this. Let's start with the first one. Let's make this Riyadh season, because why not, right? So, we're going to look up Riyadh season logo. This doesn't even need to be real boxing stuff. If you guys don't want it to be, you can quite literally, I'm trying to think of something stupid. You can put Ryan Reynolds right here and it'll pop up. It really doesn't matter. So, file. That thing's fucking massive, okay. scale this way down. This is probably accurate, the right size. I was completely wrong. Sometimes for some of these images you really gotta get them tiny, and it is not gonna be fun going through Crown Air pose. It can take a long time. As you can see, it is just now maybe big enough. I'm gonna make the image a little fat. It doesn't look all that great, I'm gonna be honest. But you know what? It doesn't look all that bad either. So this works. It's not terrible. It's not 10 out of 10. Ta-da! And it looks more or less right. Now, what I think I'm gonna do actually is not mess with this and instead go back here. I'm gonna have it take up both, or all three possibly. Kind of see what I'm working with here and go from there. I'm gonna change this Everlast logo to winning probably to make up for it. In the meantime, what I am gonna do, because I have the opportunity to do it now since I know exactly what I'm doing. Don't need to separate these three anymore, mostly because of the fact they're all going to be the same logo. As you can see, I haven't done the greatest job, but it should turn out more or less okay. I mean, yeah, I shouldn't really need to worry about being too nice with coloring the lines, but not yet. Let's do this. Now, as you can see, I use shift. I do that when I need a perfectly straight line. It's just the easiest thing to do rather than sit there and try and frustrate yourself getting a perfect straight line on your own. It usually doesn't happen, so. Looks good. I have an idea of how I want this to look, so it should be right about here. And that's just about perfect. Use a little paint bucket tool. So now we're gonna overdo this Everlast right here. How are we gonna do it? I'm not sure yet, but it shouldn't be too hard. Trying to find a winning logo is kind of a pain in the ass, but you find a good one, find a good one. I made custom headgear, and it was the biggest pain to get the logo for winning. I had to legitimately find a piece of headgear, a real piece of headgear. I had to take it, I had to get a picture of the logo, and then I had to paste it, and I had to erase around it. It took me hours. It was not fun. You don't want to do that. Alright, well, if I can't find... Well, guess that's what you guys are going to see here now. It's fun. Okay, so what are we going to do here? We're literally going to erase everything around it. That is not an exaggeration. Let me make this much, much smaller. This is going to be the annoying part. Alright. As you can see, I'm trying to get literally as close to not messing with the logo as possible. Like I just did. Okay. This should be good. So now we more or less have the logo. I'm going to go on a little bit. Alright, pretty much the logo. So, now that we have the logo, stay here, Control C, and Control V to see how big it is. It needs to be a bit smaller. We're going to have to delete commit maps again. Don't need them. If I were to do a layer group, would it work this time? No. Why? I don't know. Not really sure why the layer groups aren't working. Interesting, to say the least. Oh well, it doesn't matter. We can do what we did earlier with merge layer, and it'll be the exact same outcome. So, make sure that this is damn near perfect, because I don't want to redo this again. It needs to be a bit smaller. So all we're going to do is scale the image a little bit further down. That should be good. And as you can see, fits perfectly, and it goes right over the logo, paragraph. Now, straight up, it's not gonna look great. It, it's off a glove. It's not gonna look all that good, but it's still gonna look better than something else you would see, right? Something that like I don't know, you would have to draw yourself maybe. Or it's not gonna look great. It's just how it is. But take it in stride. But now that we have this, is there anything else we want to do? Probably not. Maybe we could go over ESPN of Top Rank, but we don't need to do all that. So, as far as I'm concerned, just gonna merge layer down. And as you can see, that's one. So then now we're just gonna open up. Should be 512 by 1024. That's how you want to keep it. And as you can see, it's not 512 by 1024, which is a problem. This is why this matters so much. Why can't I merge anything into this layer group? Now we got a problem solved. Why are we playing this game now? Why I say trial and error. It's happens occasionally, and I'm trying to figure it out right now. Huh. Alright, well. gonna have to make a little edit in here, but it is what it is. Alright, so it seems that the screen recorder that I'm using in NVIDIA recording messes with the layer groups where you can't add them. I'm not sure why it does that. I don't really care, frankly. I'll just edit this and put it together. But as you can see, boom, 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 boom. Been debating throwing top rank over this, but I don't need to. So, as you can see, this right here is bigger than everything else. So in order to fix this, what we need to do, hold up, I'm gonna fix this as well. Make sure it looks good. So what we need to do is, because this layer right here is bigger than the rest, we're going to need to crop it. Cropping is a pain in the ass, I'm just going to say that now, but it works. That's why it's such a pain in the ass. Okay. I'm going to delete this layer. I really don't want to do because I don't know if I'm going to be able to merge it again. That's why I say it's all trial and error. And not that great, but it gets the job done. If I delete this, let's see. Didn't get the job done how I wanted it to. Alright. Well, I'm not gonna go through the extra trouble of messing it up. So this is fine. It's not everything I wanted, but it's not bad. So we're just gonna export this like so. Make sure if you press the layer group, if you want to export both layers together instead of as it was before. So now, let me go back and open it. Boom. That's what it looks like. That's what it's gonna look like in game. No longer need this. You have Reebok, you have Nike. You have all this. I've thought about changing this. I don't think you really need to. This is some cool stuff that wouldn't normally be there. It's really hard to recreate this type of stuff, so I wouldn't get rid of it personally. Same with this. You can get rid of these, however, or you can change them. I'm gonna change them. I'll show you what it looks like. And this is getting changed as well. So, I'm gonna change Reebok. gonna be pretty quick. So we're just gonna do one at a time. First, we're gonna replace this with a Nike logo. Not hard at all. As you can see, it's fucking massive. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna scale it way down, like way down, like need to be around 15-ish pixels. I'm gonna go 17. That should be good. Yeah, it's about 17. The goal is to make it fit absolutely perfectly. Works. I'm just gonna skip through all of this, I guess, and we'll come back when it's done because you guys have the simple gist on how to do this. Alright, so I finished editing everything now. Now we're just gonna go through and put it all back together. So, in case you guys are wondering, the reason they're all named like this is because this is how they're named in the files when you go and look at them. These are names that correspond to numbers, so that's the actual name of the venue. So think Aragon Ballroom, Tokyo Fight Kingdom or whatever, Big Bear, Boardwalk, all that shit. So now that we're here, we're gonna basically just import all the different textures and everything. Gonna replace all the files and we're gonna do now. Alright. Now what we're gonna do, since we've already gone through and edited everything, go to the big file extractor, and we're gonna rebuild these big files. So we did Germany. I'm gonna rebuild it. So we're just gonna go out here, folder, set, just like so. That's the first. Press close. Now we're gonna go to Philippines, which is Metro Manila Arena. We're gonna do the exact same thing we just did. Now that we've rebuilt these, we're gonna run quick BMS, and we're gonna go to our folder, and we're gonna run this compressor right here, and we're gonna recompress these two. We're gonna throw them in here. So remember these numbers now. So we're using venue 14. That's the first one, right? And then I believe the next one is 62 or 63. It's 62. So when these have finished compressing, we're going to take them and we're going to throw them into our original folder, and we're going to see how it works. Alright, so now that they've finished compressing, we know how this works. Not sure why that's a 0, not really worried about it. We're going to take these two. I'm going to go back to this game folder where we found it in the first place. Right here. Now this is quite important, right? We're replacing this and this, and we want to make sure that, you know, we have these two because they work. So if these two don't work, then we're gonna sit here and we're gonna throw in the old ones because these two wouldn't be working. So now that they're in there, we're gonna run Fight Night Champion.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
So we messed with Berlin Gym. We changed the canvas of the ring. We're gonna check that out first, and we're gonna see how it turned out. Keep in mind that everything you change, it changes all throughout the game for this. So that means that when you change fight kits, right, it ends up with the gloves being changed for not just you throwing them on, but for whatever fighter has them equipped, whether they're randomly generated or not, doesn't really matter. And any gyms you change, like New York Arena, Aragon Ballroom, all of it will be changed when you actually play the game in Legacy mode or Fight Now. So as you can see, this is what the new ring canvas looks like.
I want to see some
Play for a second, just show you guys. New ring canvas looks pretty good. Doesn't look 10 out of 10 or anything, but it doesn't look bad by any means. So we've seen what the ring canvas here looks like, so now we're going to go to Metro Manila. I've already changed the ring canvas previously. I expect it to look how it did before, but some of the posters have changed. So let's take a look at what it looks like.
Hi everybody, so glad you...
And as you can see, you have the winning logo in the background.
Round number 1 is now underway. All the talk is done.
Three
It is
odds
simply
back
time
there.
to fight.
It doesn't look the best. It's clearly covered by something.
David
but
Hayes
it's
putting a
not
smile
as bad
on
as
his
it could
corner
be.
man's face right there and frustrating his opponent
You see
with that
winning
jab.
everywhere.
How
I'm
about
sure
that
that
left hand?
it changes a bit depending on
Good
certain
fighting,
circumstances.
snapping shot
But
by David Hayes. Able to block that away. It was
the
targeted
reason
for
the
his
Real
head.
Season logo is most likely covered up is because I took 3 spaces instead of just 1, which
George
probably covers the
Foreman
entire
is the
thing.
personification
I'm
of a
sure it
power
said
punch.
Reebok
He
before.
is power punch. His
That
opponent
being the
says,
case, it doesn't
I
really
can
matter
match
because
power
at the end of
with
the day,
power.
But he
I
can't
can go
match
back and do
power
it if I
on
want
both
to.
sides of the plate
I
the way
still have the
Foreman
old
can. He
vanilla
can get you out with the
but
right
I'm
hand
also fine with
and
this.
the left hand.
So
Oh, he turns it
you
over
can
right
change a
into
lot
a
of
hook.
different things about it. You can see the ring, and in Discord. That's about it.